You've made it. You have an RV and you're out there and you don't want that to be ruined by some kind of legal issue you may have. The Constitution is my law. Fine. If you want to go that route.
You're not supposed to dump your black tank like on the ground.
We have a lot to learn on some of these topics.
There are many potential legal issues that you can encounter as an RVer, and many people don't know about all of these different ones. We're going to go over 10 really, really important legal RV issues today that you should be aware of.
Now let's preface this video by saying you do RV for fun. Most people RV for fun. Some people it's a full-time thing, but for most it's a dream. You've made it, right? You have an RV and you're out there on leisure time enjoying your life, seeing this beautiful country. And you don't want that to be ruined by some kind of legal issue you may have. So let's start the first thing. It's going to be specific driver's licenses.
We get this all the time, question.
Correct. Now, we'll speak as to New Jersey. New Jersey, if it's a recreational vehicle, you do not need any kind of special endorsement. So you can have a 55,000 pound motorhome with air brakes going down the road, towing a boat. You don't need a special endorsement because if it's not commercial, you're good to go. Now, every state is different. Some states do require not a commercial, but a special endorsement. Some states may require that you need a commercial license. So it's up to you, depending the state you're registered in, to comply with the legalities of that state. Now, people ask, well, if I have a New Jersey driver's license and I drive in a state that requires the endorsement, does that matter? No, it shouldn't matter because it's the state you're registered in. So if we drive to Texas, our licensing as far as our driver's license, since we're registered in New Jersey, would fall under New Jersey.
Let us know in the comments below about you. Do you require where you are registered in? What is your situation? Now let's talk about the next one, which is registration and insurance. And again, this is going to vary in all different locations. We'll speak specifically for us, and we want you to put your situation in the comments. Now, in New Jersey, obviously our motorhome needs to be registered and insured. When we had our Jayco travel trailer, we did not need to insure that. We would highly recommend, that would be our recommendation, that you do.
Yeah, since it was considered a towable, a trailer, we did not have to insure it. No different than when we have our open trailer to tow a car. We don't have to insure that. And we don't insure that because that's not really of high value. The insurance of your towed vehicle would cover it. But we did insure, like MJ said, the RV because it was just a higher value on that trailer. But every state could be different. So we want your feedback in your state. I would imagine a motorhome has to be registered, but we want to know the towables. Do the towables have to be registered? Again, I think if it has a plate, it definitely has to be registered. But we want your feedback as far as insurance and other things like that.
Before we move on to the next one, guys, many of you have been unsubscribed without your knowing, so just take a quick peek. Make sure you're still subscribed and hit the notification bell.
So the next one has to do with zoning and parking, and this can take many different forms. So we'll start with the most common one that sometimes people run into problems is zoning in your neighborhood. Some areas, I know there's places in New Jersey that are like this. You can't have a commercial vehicle in your driveway. You can't have a vehicle a certain size in your driveway. It depends on the town you're in. Let's talk about on-street parking. Some places do not allow between certain hours. It could cost you a lot of money in fines. And then let's finally talk about HOAs. Many HOAs do not allow you to park motorhomes, trailers in your driveway for more than a certain amount of time. And they do that because of aesthetic reason. You have to read your HOA bylaws to make sure that you're not in violation, because what could happen is if you wanted to have to go into storage, you just added a lot of money a month, $100, $300, $400 a month to store your RV. It might be an unexpected cost. Let's talk about some other things you may not think of. Height, weight restrictions, as well as weight in your RV. So going down the road, depending on what type of RV you have, you could be subject to height and weight restrictions on many roads. I know by us, there's a specific road that we see the police always pulling over vehicles. It has a weight restriction. The trucks cut through there and they get pulled over all the time, and I imagine they get large fines, especially if they're commercial. So you have to keep that in mind depending on what type of RV that you have. Now, we do fall under a lot of those weight, height restrictions, especially when we carry propane. One of the reasons and one of the ways we got out, I shouldn't say get out of it, the way we're able to avoid that is by using an RV-specific GPS. Now, we had one that we bought in our motorhome, and it just didn't work too well. Not that portion as far as the weight and height restrictions, but just the mapping wasn't good. We recently upgraded to the Garmin 895, and yes, we purchased this full price. This has been awesome. I mean, what's your feedback on this?
Again, except the first trip that we got it at the Tampa show.
Correct.
Driving back, we had a little issue, but ever since then, it's been flawless.
Yeah, so this will tell you, you put in your height, weight, what you're carrying as far as your total length, if you're carrying propane, and it will route you on the appropriate roads, and it'll tell you there's a certain height. You just don't go down those roads, right? It's gonna make sure and take care of everything. This is really good, guys. The $8.95, why we like it, it has live traffic monitoring, so it's always getting the updated information, and it's always updating yourself. For more information about this, guys, we'll put our Amazon link down below.
All right, guys, we are ready for Izzy's favorite time of the video, and probably the most informative too. Are you ready?
We're talking about the time when we clean, guys, and one of the best cleaners on the market that we have found is the sponsor of this video, and it is Release Cleaner. Release Cleaner is a US-based company, originally developed for the aeronautics industry, and is a true all-in-one cleaner, and we mean it cleans everything. So paint, wheels, tires, roof, interior upholstery, shoes, it doesn't matter. And when we do these videos, we always give a live demonstration. Now, Nellie's very clean right now, but the Mustang is not. As you can see, hon, if you want to show over here, pretty dirty, guys. We've been getting some rain. So what we're going to do is do the live registration at the live demonstration as we speak about Release. There's no dyes, no sulfurs or scents in this product. And what's awesome about it, guys, since it's an all-in-one cleaner, you're gonna reduce weight, because if you get the 1 gallon concentrate of Release, you're going to get 80 bottles, 32-ounce bottles, comes out to about $1.12 a bottle. It's the strongest solution, which is 1 part Release to 20 parts water, our preferred solution. Our subscribers have absolutely loved Release. Can you tell me? Because of the technology in here, guys, what Release does is that it releases, it associates with the dirt and releases. I'm just gonna get a little bit more so we have plenty of lubricant. And you saw the bumper, how dirty it was. Clean towel, guys, no camera tricks. We're just gonna wipe and show you how it's just gonna clean everything up. Look at the dirt right there, guys. And what's nice about this, listen, are you gonna use this at home? Probably not. It's gonna take a lot more time. But when you're on the road and you can't be out there with the power washer, this is what we use. I mean, look how clean this is. Taking bugs off is a breeze. We've showed many videos taking bugs off. It's 1, 2, 3. What's pretty awesome about Release is that it's very inexpensive. You use our discount code,
Endless10.
you get 10% off of the purchase. Any purchase $75 or more, it's free shipping. US-based company, we absolutely love them. They're a big supporter of our channel. We're gonna put their information down below. You wanna go to releasecleaner.com if you wanna get the best cleaner on the market.
All right, so we're about halfway through. We have a bonus for you at the end that is a very, very important one that we get questions about all the time, so stay tuned for that. Now let's move on to the next one, which is waste disposal. A lot of people don't realize that, maybe newer RVers, you're not supposed to dump your black tank like on the ground, okay? So
after you do it and smell it, you'll realize that.
That's a big no-no. You want to make sure gray and black water are not supposed to be dumped at your site. It can cause, especially with black water, you're gonna get fined. If a campground finds you doing that,
you're gonna get thrown out.
You're gonna get fined, you're gonna get thrown out. But also it can cause extreme environmental issues. If that black waste soaks into the ground, that can cause big problems for a campground.
The next one has to do with tax. Uncle Sam wants their cut at every opportunity. You want to make sure that you are consulting with a tax professional. You may be that tax professional. If that's you, that's great. That is not us. We do consult with a tax professional quite often. But write-offs, right? You may be able to get tax breaks, but you may be responsible for certain taxes depending on where your domicile state is. You want to just make sure that you don't get in trouble with that, guys.
The next one is talking about safety implications. Now, you want to make sure that everything on your RV is working properly to avoid being stopped and getting fined. And there's many things we're talking about. We talk about smoke detectors or seat belts or things. What's a big one? Like in law enforcement, what do people get stopped for all the time? Is not having proper working lights.
Right, marker lights. Even if you're towing, the appropriate safety chains, breakaway cables, emergency braking, like those are all things that they do have legal implications. You can get fined for them. And if you have especially a motorized, there's certain things that are required, like your horn has to work, your wipers have to work. Those are all things that you can get fined for. The fines can get quite expensive, so just keep that in mind. Make sure you inspect pretty regularly before you go down the road. Next one we kind of touched on in the previous, but just to amplify and be more specific, it's going to be towing. And again, safety chains, lights, breakaway cables, emergency braking, that's all really important. What's also important is the weight of what you're towing going down a certain road, on the towed vehicle, all very important. Maybe won't get you a fine, it could, but if you have a crash and you are overweight, that could be an issue.
Now, the next one is something that we don't have any experience with, but we do want to mention this, and we want you, those that this applies to put down in the comments below. And it has to do with full-time RV living laws. And we probably will never have this, as we're going to be most timers, so we will have that sticks and bricks. But you have to think about these things in terms of voting and mail delivery and, medical and all those things. But legally,
medical's a huge one.
Yes, that's another big one.
Right, depending on where your domicile is, and I touched on this earlier, paying taxes, income tax in particular, depends on the state that you're in as far as state income tax, how much you have to pay, how much you don't have to pay. That's information that you want to know.
Now, this next one has to do with international travel. A lot of you have traveled into Mexico, or you go into Canada, and there's, a lot of people.
If you're going to Alaska, you kind of have to cut through Canada, so
right.
another country.
There's a lot of things that you have to think about. Again, this is something that we will be embarking on in the near future, but right now we want your input below, but you have to be making sure that you are abiding by the regulations of that country.
When you're in the United States, each law has its own state, but you're still kind of under the umbrella of the federal government. Most states reciprocate other state law, like as far as licensing, registration, stuff like that. I don't know how it works in other countries. You're not at home base anymore.
And they're all different.
Right. And if you're going to choose to travel in those countries, then you have to know what goes on. So we want your feedback. Canada, Mexico, obviously the two biggest ones you'd be traveling to from the United States. People that have traveled to those areas, please let us know. What are some of the things that surprised you that you had to be in compliance to go to those countries? The last one, the bonus, a very popular one. We've done many videos on this topic, is RVing with firearms. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not an attorney. I never claimed to be an attorney, and we get a lot of feedback asking us legal questions. Some people very angry that they want legal advice on YouTube. I will give you advice. Don't seek legal advice on YouTube. If you want more information about the legalities in specific, you really should consult an attorney, and we're never going to give legal advice. We will tell you this. If you are traveling with firearms in your RV, as I stated earlier, many states reciprocate other states' laws. Regarding firearms, that's not always the case. Many states do. There are certain states that don't. They tend to be along the coast. So if you are traveling with your firearm in one of those states, California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, you have to be compliant with their laws. And I know somebody's going to write in the comments, because they do it many times, the Constitution is my law. We have the right. Fine. If you want to go that route, fine. Just make sure you use that defense. If unfortunately you are charged with some kind of crime, probably not going to be a very good defense, because the Supreme Court has also said that states have the right to imply and to implicate their laws also. But we just want to give you that heads up, guys. You have to be responsible. You may be 100% right, but it's going to cost you a lot of time. It's going to cost you a lot of money. You're better off knowing what those laws are. Now, I will give you some resources. NRA is a very good resource for state reciprocity, and they keep it updated. And there are other firearm-friendly organizations out there. If you go to NRA, you'll start seeing some other ones. Those are good places just to get general information. Again, I would not try to make some kind of legal determination without consulting with a qualified attorney. We will put our latest firearm video, we'll link it up above. So in the comments below, we want your feedback on this. We have a lot to learn on some of these topics, and so do our viewers, so that's really important to us. If you like videos like this, guys, to the left of us, we'll put our RV Newbies playlist. We'll put our RV news playlist, and for myself and MJ, it's a journey of a lifetime, and we'll see you on the road.